Hello class, this is a video tutorial on adding and subtracting negative numbers. In this video we're going to look at the basic rules of neighboring signs and how to go about easily writing these. So here are the 4 rules that we need to remember. By the way, when I say neighboring signs, it means signs that are right next to each other. So if ever you see a plus and a plus, like right next to each other, you change it into a plus. Minus minus becomes a plus. Plus and a minus becomes a negative or a minus. And a minus plus becomes a minus. And I'm going to demonstrate this using these 16 examples. At any time you'd like to answer them, you can pause the video and give them a go yourselves. Here we go. Okay. By changing the signs, I literally mean to rewrite the question again. So as you can see, because of the rule, plus and plus becomes a plus. These 2 signs are neighboring because they are right next to each other. And as such, we can rewrite it just as 6 plus 7. Because these 2 are neighboring, they can become just a single plus, and then we can answer it the old-fashioned way. 6 plus 7 is 13. And I'm going to continue in this fashion. Take a look. The plus and the plus are right next to each other. Sometimes you may see a question, place it in a bracket like so, but it merely means that these two signs are still neighboring because they are right next to each other. So 7 plus 3 becomes 7 plus 3, and we can add that very easily as 10. Notice how I'm working vertically and keeping my equal sign following where it is. Continuing along. So here's where the first bit of confusion happens. A lot of students that I see tend to think that this negative is neighboring this plus. No, this minus sign and this positive sign or plus is not neighboring. These 2 here are neighboring. So it's going to be, just rewriting the question, it's going to be negative 2 plus 4. We can add that using a visual number line, or you can mentally add this as 2. Similarly, we may often see this sometimes with a bracket like so, but like I said before, these plus signs are still neighboring. So once again, we'll rewrite the question with fewer signs. Adding these, it'll become negative 4. Moving right along now. So here we have another example. You can probably guess that the second rule applies to the second set of questions. Here we have 2 neighboring minus signs. As we know from the rule, 2 minus signs that are neighboring or right next to each other become a plus. So we can rewrite this as 6 plus 7. As you can see, it's the same answer as my previous examples. This will give us 13. Like I said before, sometimes the negative or positive signs might be put into brackets, but that still means, that doesn't change that these 2 signs are neighboring. So let's add these. Let's rewrite the question as 6. Should have been 8. 8 plus 6. We know that to be 14. Notice how I'm rewriting the question. It's often best to do that. Here we go. So once again, these 2 signs are neighboring. We can rewrite this question as negative 2 plus 4. And this is, as we can see from the previous answer, 2. Once again, the bracket does not change the fact that these two signs are neighboring. Because of that, we can apply the rules of signs. So these two here become positive. So the -4 stays as it is. The two neighboring signs become a positive, and the 1 drops down. -4 plus 1 is -3. So the third set of questions corresponds with the third rule of neighboring signs. Really, the third and fourth are very similar to each other, so I'm going to go through these a lot more quickly. Okay, so since these two are neighboring, and the rule is that a plus and a minus sign neighboring each other actually becomes a minus sign. So these two are neighboring, so it's going to become 6 minus 7. So that will give us -1. Same thing with the bracket. It does not change the fact that these two signs are neighboring. We can rewrite the question as 8 minus 3, answering this to be 5. Once again, these two are neighboring. We can rewrite the question as -4 minus 3, which gives us an answer of -7. Remember, these two signs, when they're separated by a number, are not neighboring. Only when they're right next to each other are they neighboring. Even when there's a bracket, they are still neighboring numbers. So we can rewrite this question as -8 minus 2. -8 minus 2 is -10. And lastly, here we have the last set of examples. Minus and a plus is the same rule as a plus then a minus. So we can rewrite this question as 6 minus 7. Minus and a plus become a minus, equals -1. Same goes for this, even if there's a bracket in between a minus and a plus. This becomes 8 minus 2 gives us 6. -3 plus a -9 plus a -3 is the same as -9 minus 3, which is equal to -12. And lastly, even with the bracket surrounding the -4, the plus and the minus are still neighboring numbers, so this can be rewritten as -10 minus 4 is equal to -14. So now I hope that gave you a good number of examples for the rules of neighboring signs. Be sure that you actually go about rewriting the question and not attempting to do it all in one go. Best of luck, and yeah, good luck.